We're rolling. This is it. Episode 468. No Laugh Track Podcast here at Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis. I'm Justin Severson, who gets to host this thing each and every week, talking to mostly the headliners, occasionally a feature, occasionally a retired comic. We've got, go back, you'll find some of those. Right now, the headliner, someone who has been on this podcast, I think this might be actually 4 or 5 now, Kermet Apio.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's about a 4.
Mm-hmm.
And am I still headliner or retired comic? Which one am I right now?
Currently headliner. Currently headliner.
Okay.
After Saturday,
yeah, we'll see.
You tell me. We'll see.
That's right.
I don't know.
Jury's still out on that one.
I think still headliner, but that's up to you, I guess. How are you? How has it been?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be out working again. You know, it was a tough time not working. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
The last time that we did this was over 3 years ago, Kermit.
Wow.
January 2019, episode 324. It's been a while.
Wow, it has been a while. Yeah, and I was booked here April of 2020, and really held on to my airline ticket for the longest time. I really just thought, in March, I thought, who knows, right? I might still make it out there, and everything. And I had my airline ticket till mid-April.
Okay.
First week of April. I held on to it.
I had the radio on the way over here, and they were doing some story about airlines, and there's going to be some big... Everything always work out with you in the last 2 years with refunds and everything, and getting... All these people have had so many issues with flights. Did you have a lot of troubles? Or you just stayed home?
I did. I stayed home a lot, and for the most part, I was able to get things done. But I think it's one of those things where when you fly a lot, they're more willing to kind of work with you. You know what I mean? And I hate saying that because it sounds so. You know what I mean? I don't mean to sound like that way. Like, I'm a frequent flyer. I'm a silver. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so it's pretty easy to deal with everything. Luckily.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Did you see the other breaking news we have this morning?
Which one?
Oh, which one? I don't know. Well, I'm going to give you one, and maybe you have it. You can top it with something better. Monkeypox is now a public health emergency.
It is now a public health emergency. So So the post-podcast kiss is out. We're not doing it anymore?
It's not out.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking. I don't want to break the tradition because of some scare. I want me some Justin at the end of this.
Oh, my God. So before we started recording today, you were briefly catching up with, with each other, and I was giving you an update on my family, and I was saying, like, I have a daughter who's just about to turn 3. So at night, this just reminded me of this. The goodnight kiss. Good night, honey.
Right.
Well, she plays like very, I'm dad, so like everything's a joke, right? So like, hey, kiss, look, kiss, and then she'll, push me away or look. Now the way I finally get, this is like the strangest. It's so bizarre, and it has to end soon. But now my wife will be holding her, and I'm standing next to them, and my daughter will put her hand behind my head and have me and my wife kiss. Oh. And then she leans in and joins.
That's so cute.
Yes.
Oh,
it's cute and so weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird, but you got to let that go and just...
I will say she doesn't like nail the placement. It's more like cheek, or one time I pulled away and her mouth was open on my wife's chin, which is so weird. Anyway, I don't know. You got to learn that on your own, I guess, how to kiss properly.
Right.
Some kids, you practice on your arm or whatever when you're 12 years old. She's
right.
practicing on her parents.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God. So anyway, what I'm saying is the kiss is still on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's do that.
Yeah, and monkeypox. I don't know, but my God, I hope I'm bringing it up, half tongue in cheek. But my God, I really do hope we don't have to worry about something else again. Like
I know.
Where I don't see you again for 3 years because all the shows are canceled.
Right.
My goodness, we can't have it.
And I mean, look, everybody had their problems, but there's something about comedians who can't afford traditional therapy, not being able to go on stage. That's a really tough thing to go through twice in a couple of years.
No kidding. No kidding.
My family doesn't want to hear every joke I have. They want everybody else to hear it,
Right. Yeah, they're... Are they asking for new talent?
That's right.
Somebody else is going to come to town. Dad.
Who does the bookings here at the house?
Beat it. Mike Kaplan was here last week, and we talked a little bit about that gigantic lottery power jackpot or whatever, where it was $1 billion, and then you, after taxes, you get $25.
Yeah.
Did you buy a ticket? Do you go for that stuff? Did you buy?
I normally don't, but obviously in that, yes. I mean, I bought, and what I realize is that you buy it just for that drive home of thinking about it. That's what you're buying, right? And but I did. I don't normally buy it, but yeah, man, when it got over a certain amount, I did, and just drove home thinking what I would do and who I would crush. I'm surprised my mind went there. Because I kind of thought, well, I'll put a Slurpee machine in my bedroom, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But that kind of stuff gave way to who I would just ruin. I would just, I didn't know I had that in me.
Wow. You do need to get back to therapy, Kermit.
I think so. I got to get back to comedy or therapy, either one.
Yes. Some combination of both, clearly. Oh, that's very funny. Well, obviously you didn't win, so because you're here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Would you have been loyal to Lewis after all these years if you ended up a billionaire on Friday? Would you still show up at Acme?
Is he here? Yes.
Yes.
Is
No one would blame you.
I would have. I would have been here, and of course, might have mailed it in.
That would
what I mean?
You would be a retirement, right? That would be the farewell. Right. Farewell week with Kermit.
And now I'm going to read a comic book. Everybody, just sit and relax, enjoy your drinks.
Was it? But if you knew let's just play that out. Let's say you knew. You're known for being clean. We've talked about that in the past. If you had one final show and people were like, "Come on, let it go."
No, I wouldn't, because working clean isn't a financial thing. Like it is true that you get to work gigs that other comics don't get to work, right? When you work clean, you get a lot more corporate stuff and everything. Although not cruise ships anymore. Yeah, because now a lot of cruise ships now they're having these late shows. So they do the regular family show at 8, and then they do an adult show. And I'm not kidding. My cruise ship agent, I called him and we were talking, and he said, "You're not gonna believe this, but you're too clean for cruise ships now." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah. So they want an adult show, and
wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so working clean does get you a lot of gigs. So, but it was never a financial thing. It was basically because if you do dirty stuff, there's a lot more smoke and mirrors to be had. There's a lot more, and I'm an intrinsically lazy person. So the reason I chose to do this is, well, first of all, a lot of my favorite comedians just happen to work clean, but really mainly was because it made me work a bit harder, right? Because when you're young at comedy, unless you have a really truly gifted comic mind, it's hard to see the difference between a good dirty joke and a bad one, right? Because the shock value of the words have some sort of effect on the audience.
Sure.
So I was it was a way for me to say okay, if I just put these restrictions on writing the bit, I might work harder at finding out what I think is funny about that bit. And it actually did work. It was one of the few early 20s decisions I made that I actually am proud of. So yeah. So that no, I would still work clean. I would just work less.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of gigs. I go, hey, I'm done.
For sure. Now, so as we talked about in the past, people that know you and the people that don't, I'm telling them right now, you were born and raised in Hawaii.
Yep.
And then now you live in Seattle.
Yep.
And have for how long?
I went to college in 85, so it's been 37 years.
So
wow.
Since college, yeah.
37 years, yeah.
Now, we'll play it out again. Let's say now you have this unlimited supply of money to do whatever you want. Would you stay in Seattle? Would you ever move back to Hawaii? Would you find a place in a suburb of Minneapolis?
That's right.
On a lake.
That's right.
Are you where you want to be, or would money change that? Considerably.
I should be in Brainerd more. I've always said that. I've always said,
yeah.
I really love Seattle. I would be there, but certainly I would have a place in Hawaii for January, because it's not so much the rain. We get the same amount of rain as New York and Houston. It's the clouds. Is it to go without seeing the sun for 3 weeks? It's a little insane. It's a bit nuts, and you get used to it. And now I should say this: I get to travel, so I oftentimes try and book a California, Vegas, or Hawaii around January, February.
Yeah.
So I do get to go chase the sun, But if you're just there all the time, it's a little tricky. So yeah, I would definitely have something in Hawaii. And plus, the family food and everything. I love Hawaii, but Seattle's a great place to live.
Yeah. I saw you're going back soon, like in a week or so?
To Hawaii?
Yeah.
Yeah, my son has a college visit, a campus visit at University of Hawaii.
What?
Yeah. Which I did not know he was thinking about. Yeah, my son is very much a mainland kid, but he threw that at me, and so we're gonna go see family, and I put together a show, so I'll do a show there, and I'll walk around the UH campus with my son.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just between you and me, how much would it be great if he went there?
Or
what do you think?
No,
do you want that to happen?
It'd be great because he'd have home cooked meals every weekend. He's got my mom, my aunties, they're all there. They'd be taking care of him.
He's gotta do this.
Yeah, I know. But the only thing for me is, wow, the airfares in the last 2 years.
Well, that's what I
won't see him. My daughter's in college in Oregon, about a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
Which is just far enough that my daughter's whole thing about when she was looking for colleges is she didn't want to be close enough to Seattle that my wife could pop in. That was her whole just she didn't want the mom, smothering. And so she's 4 hours away, which is just far enough for independence, but I get to go down to her volleyball games or her track meets in the spring. I get to just drive down there if I have a weekend off or whatever. And but if my son goes to Hawaii, it'd be great for him and my relatives, but boy, to see him would be really difficult. And Christmas time, flying to and from Hawaii is impossible. So it's so expensive, right?
So expensive.
We'd be shelling out a lot of money to get him home for Christmas. But I would be happy if he went though.
Yeah. Your daughter's doing college sports?
Yeah, volleyball and track.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm really proud of her. Look, she just finished 2 years of college. That breaks my record by about a year and 3 months. No, I'm sorry, by 3 months. I did about a little over a year and a half. So she already broke my record.
Yeah.
And I didn't play sports.
I was
going
to say, you didn't do any sports?
No, I didn't. I might have been able to, but it wasn't just on my radar.
Drinking team.
I sure enjoyed that.
The college drinking team, right? Yeah.
Which is only an intramural sport at University of Washington.
Yeah, okay.
It's not an accredited sport.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So many potential professionals.
I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So she's playing volleyball in the fall and throwing javelin and hammer in the spring.
Wow.
So, yeah, really proud of her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Javelin and hammer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I will say, I did something very similar. That I had that same attitude, like for college. I didn't even know why. I went to Minnesota Duluth. I grew up in St. Paul. It was far, but not too far. I mean,
Right.
It was the same thing.
Right.
Not 4 hours, two, give or take. Speed limit's raised like 20 miles per hour since I was in college, so you can get there a lot faster legally. Yeah. Things have changed just a little bit. Anyway, one more thing I want to bring up that I just saw yesterday. I was driving around. I want your thoughts on this. Is this a lazy? I think it's a genius business, but is this what does this say about society? Maybe it was a sticker on the back of a truck advertising their business, and they do gift wrapping and gift hiding. And it's called, the name of the company, I don't know. I'm not going to give them free advertising, but it was like Santa's Helper or something like that. Basically it was like, my first thought was, kids could see this. Kids old enough to read maybe don't know about Santa might be going, what do you mean Santa's Helper and you're hiding gifts? First of all, that seemed
Oh, wait. So I see. So if you have gifts that you're going to give the kids, you can leave it at their
hide them
place.
With these people. Yes, this business. Yes, now you get it. So first of all, I'm thinking, my house. Let it be known right now. I also am running this business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Do you not have a relative who can just hold on to the stuff?
Right. I mean, is somebody actually making money off this?
Man.
And if so, I want to get in on that.
You imagine your life where there isn't a 4x4 foot block of area that you could put gifts in. Just imagine that, and nobody has that. Mm-hmm. That you would need that service. Like I need to pay someone to hold gifts. But you're right. That's genius. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
Because if there's a market, man, I'm very surprised. I'm guessing the gift wrapping is more the money maker.
I mean, it has to be. That actually takes some, time and skill. I guess it takes some skill. Some,
it does.
Some are better than others,
skill.
certainly. At
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it does take skill, but
Yeah.
man, I cannot imagine.
So whatever they're charging, I'm $1 less.
That's right.
I'll deliver whatever you want. We'll meet somewhere in a public spot. I don't care.
And then put me in a security guard outfit and standing right next to the door and say it's safe, it's guarded, right? I have a guy who's right there the whole time.
Yeah. You're just walking around my garage.
Wow, we have businesses that cover things that don't need to be covered.
Yes, I guess that's a good way to put it.
All right.
It caught my eye. I was amazed.
Well, I'm going to start a business where what we do is if you have a drink on your table, I help you lift it the first 6 inches, and then you do the rest and drink. Yeah. So just why not? Because that's the toughest 6 inches, because that's the longest route to your mouth.
I want to see you incorporate that during your set tonight.
That's what I mean. It's like during the show.
First couple rows, I got it.
I kneel down. I help. Yes, absolutely. Sure. That's my new service now, because apparently everything's available to be paid for.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. You can have your little Venmo card out.
Yes.
You know what to do.
As soon as I see the little ping, I'm going to come over and lift your drink for you.
That's right. How was last night back at Acme? For the first time in years.
It was fun. Yeah, it was so great to be here and working with 2 really funny people who I've not seen. So it was great. James Stanley and Linda Ahrens, and both really creative and very funny and very different. The 3 of us are very different. That's one of the things I love about working Acme is that there's a lot of effort put into the whole show, And that you see every time I'm here. It's really a fun lineup where you can kind of see that there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And I love that. One time I was working at a club. This is years ago. I was working at a club, and they put out like a 2-month flyer schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the schedule had a rating. That way it would help people, kind of like a movie rating,
okay.
Right? So on the 2-month schedule, I am the only PG. Everything else is R to X to XXX or whatever, and so I'm the only PG. So I think that that's great. That'll kind of help me as far as like if this week does well, it bodes well for them to bring me back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first night I'm watching, and the feature act is filthy, right? Just filthy. And so I'm watching people walk out, right? And the second night, same thing. And the owner he comes up to me and goes, "I don't know what's going on, man. Everybody's all mad at . And I said, "Well, yeah, because you advertise this as a PG show." And he goes, "Yeah, but we mean the headliner." Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what he said. We mean the headliner. And I said, "Well, if you took your kids to watch a Disney movie and the trailer was for pornos, I mean." And like he just did not get what I was thinking. So if you're going to book a PG show and advertise it that way, just book a PG show, right?
Yeah.
Just bring in a feature who can, or don't say anything, right? Let me be the person who lets them know there's, and then if they follow me, then they might know that when I come back it'll be a clean show. But don't advertise the whole show as PG and then somehow think it's their fault for getting mad about the feature. So.
Well, he performs nude, but the material's clean.
It just talks about airline food while naked.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was really funny. So the one thing I really enjoy about working here is that the acts are different. They cover a lot of bases but they work really well together.
You couldn't make it to town for the 30th anniversary last fall.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. So, man, I felt so bad. And I should say, before I tell you this, I came close to, but I would have had to cancel a USO trip entertaining in the Middle East. And
well, fine,
I
guess.
I know. But what makes me feel even more guilty, it was for the Saudi Arabian troops.
And I wasn't paid.
I felt terrible.
And I paid for the flight.
I'm sorry, Acme. I can't miss this. I'm entertaining the Live tour.
They're not so bad.
No, so I was doing a USO tour, which had been canceled in COVID, and so this was the rebooking, and so I had it on the books for about a year.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't. I couldn't cancel it. And plus two is that it was my first one. I mean, I've been doing comedy for 30 years, and I'd never done a USO tour.
Oh,
I've traveled.
When you said that, I'm like, oh, it's probably 3 or 4 you done?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've traveled overseas to do like regular shows, but never one at the bases. And so I really was looking forward to it, and I felt so bad because I was here for the 10-year anniversary. I was here for the 20, and I was honored that Louis asked me to come out to the 30th. But I couldn't cancel that, and it wound up being a really amazing trip. I mean, just to go and meet these people who were really appreciative that you made the trip.
What was give me one bad part of doing that trip? There's got to be something that was like, oh, this was terrible.
Oh, there weren't too many bad parts. There was a
rule or accommodations.
That's it. There was one base that wasn't near any hotels. It wasn't near anything. It was you just driving through a desert, and all of a sudden there's a base, and so we were staying in a thing that it kind of looked like a Twinkie. It was like a tan, like a tent kind of situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so. And there's no walls really. It's just they kind of separate it with kind of tent cloth,
Sure.
And it was really cold at night. And that's the thing about going to the desert in November. The days are great; they're like 70 degrees, but at night it gets really chilly.
Yeah.
And so it's and you get a little like the proverbial light bulb hanging from the ceiling, from the rafter, and you got to pull the chain.
Yes.
That was so no Wi-Fi, no anything. We're just sitting there in me and the other comics just we could talk through our quote unquote rooms because it was just canvas separating us. That was tough because that was the beds weren't very comfortable and it was cold and. So a couple of those places, but I should say then there are other bases that one base has a really nice hotel because they have a lot of visitors.
Oh, okay.
So they have an on-base hotel. So
Fancy.
that was great. It was a really, really nice, and so, but we had just 2 nights where the accommodations were tough. But when you realize there are people that are going to be in these things for months, years, maybe, you know what I mean? They're going to live in these Twinkies, I don't know how better to describe them.
I'm sure that's a military term.
Yeah, that's right. Live in the Twinkie, and they, but when you think about that, then you're like, okay, I'm here one night.
Yeah, that's
I'm not going to complain, right?
For sure.
And so we were all 3 of us. They were like, so how's the accommodation? We're like, it's great, it's awesome. I'm not going to complain.
Right,
you guys have to be here all the time, and so accommodations were the hardest part, but they were welcoming. They were happy to have us there. And it was.
Did they have you put on like a helmet and stuff when you're?
No, we didn't really have to do that. Those are only if you go out into field stuff. Like we did a couple things where we went out to where they had a demo for us, but we weren't anywhere near it.
Oh, okay.
Like, they.
Here, want to shoot a gun?
Yeah, right. For those kind of things, you do have to wear, but we didn't have to for anything we did. So.
Sure. So would you do it again?
Yeah, I want to. It's although it's a little weird because. When you do certain types of shows, types of bases, a lot of them can be like 22 to 30, 35. Mm-hmm. And here I am talking about my kids and, my just,
yeah. You may know some of them, right? You might have gone to school with them, possibly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can relate to them.
Right. You don't relate to my perspective. No. You're on my kid's side of that joke. Yeah, exactly.
Did you give anybody dad hugs because they missed their parents?
But when we did shows with the officers were there, that helped me a lot, right? The other 2 comics were actually one comic was a lot younger, but yeah, for me when the officers were there it was a little better because they're a bit older and they all have families and stuff. So
sure.
But yeah, they were great, man. They were a lot of fun.
So what did I do? I searched Kermet Apio on Amazon, I think it was. I don't know. I put
something I never would do.
I put guest names in any all sort besides Google, eBay, Amazon,
Tinder,
Netflix. Well, Tinder, obviously. that's how I get the real scoop. And my goodness, what was I saying now? I came up with. Oh my God, I totally lost my train of thought here. First of all, while I'm thinking of that, describe that picture.
Okay, so the Mariners had a promotion where it was the J-Rod section, Julio Rodriguez.
We got that on camera? There we go.
Okay. So they had a Julio Rodriguez section, and it was $25, and you got a J-Rod T-shirt. And so that post, the post basically says, like, when the T-shirt is included in the ticket price, you lose money by not going.
Yeah,
you got to go to the game. It's just simple economics, right? But it was great. It was in the outfield. But Julio injured his wrist 2 days before, so yeah.
He didn't play on his day?
No, he didn't play. Yeah.
The only thing that's worse than that is when a team announces a bobblehead, and then the players trade
him away.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's how I've seen that happen multiple times.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, I guess we send these to third world country or something. Anyway, I remember what I was going to bring up now.
Yeah.
So I searched you on Amazon, and that led to something on Amazon Prime, and it was an episode of Evening at the Improv.
Oh my gosh, is that on Prime?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes. What do you remember of that? Because I watched it.
I remember that Janine Garofalo was on that episode.
Yep.
I met Janine Garofalo that day. And I mean, she wasn't famous by any, but she was kind of getting a lot of momentum at that point.
This says it aired December 22nd, 1992.
Wow. Yeah, it was weird because I got Evening at the Improv and Star Search with Ed McMahon in like within 3 months of each other. And man, I thought I was taken off. This is it, man. I am in like 2 national TV shows, and then it took like 6 years for another national TV show. I did Louis' show.
Oh
yeah, Louis Anderson's show.
You did that Friday night thing or something, right?
It was called Comedy Showcase.
Yeah.
But I really thought, oh, this is it. I'm on my way.
Right. Carson's knocking on the door.
Had no idea how much work I still had.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. But it was great. It did help my resume a lot because I went from very obscure Seattle, occasionally headlining comic to 2 national TV credits. Yeah.
Wow.
It's on Prime. Oh my God.
It is.
I've tried not to watch that set. And not just because the material probably isn't very good, but because the Hawaiian mullet. So that was kind of a thing back then where you kind of grew the back part.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hang like the mullet. It's more bushy.
Yes.
Yeah. You've seen it. It's yeah.
Hosted by Charles Durning.
Charles Durning. Yeah.
And featuring comedians Kermet Apio, John Malakoff, Janine Garofalo, Pete DeRusho, and Joe Nipote. Do you remember any of those names?
No. Janine, obviously. I just remember she was on the episode. I don't. But I do remember, by the way, Charles Durning, who is known as this kind of serious actor, he had a nice little take where he said, our next comedian's from Hawaii. And then he made this little face like, oh, our next comedian's from Hawaii, but now lives in Seattle. And he just made a face like, like, why? Why would he do that? And it got a laugh. Yeah. I was like, way to go, Charles Durning.
Honestly, Kermit, I was fast forwarding through his part, and then he was talking so long leading up to you. I'm like, maybe this is good. I'm going to go back.
He was off script, by the way. That was
so
yeah, because he just had my intro there, and I didn't know because I was so nervous. I didn't know what he was doing, but when I watched it, I was like, oh, he was making some jokes about a Hawaiian guy moving to Seattle. Like it was really good.
And both the announcer and Charles Durning, Apio. Kermet Apio.
Yeah. That's I understand. Look, it's a name with more vowels and consonants. It's I don't put any pressure on anybody on that. You
didn't get upset being on national TV.
right.
Cut.
You just gave me a national TV chance. Pronounce my name right.
What did that show is so interesting. Just like how the format where it was like they had a host that was like a non-comedian
a celebrity host. Yeah,
and then 3-4 up-and-comers, basically.
Yeah. And I remember watching that show in high school, so to be on it was a really big deal for me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Like, here's some of the names of the celebrities from the season that you did, the celebrity hosts. Zsa Zsa Gabor, Morgan Fairchild, Ed Begley Jr., who's still
celebrity.
Still working today.
Absolutely.
Still working today. What do we got here? Tawny Katane, recently passed away.
Yeah.
Steve Land. We got a lot of dead people here. Steve Landesberg, Nichelle Nichols, just this week, passed away from Star Trek. Frankie Valli, Hector Elizondo, Patty, Mary Hart, And then Weird Al Yankovic,
Wow.
still a superstar. And then your show, Charles Durning.
And
Cheech Marin was the next week.
yes, and because the taping was right after ours. And
Oh, so
yeah,
same
so I
day.
got to see Cheech. And
how
yeah.
cool.
So but so the tradition is that you do your set, you walk off the center of the stage, down the aisle, take a right, and then Bud Friedman, who was the big guy of the improv,
Yes.
he would shake your hand and hand you the improv game. So I always thought, this is so cool. They had improv at a home game. It was a comedy-based board game. Yeah. Like so that was a tradition. So I thought, I'm going to get to do that walk that I've watched, famous comedians do. I get to walk down the thing and shake Bud's hand, and I get the game. It's like, this is so great. I get to do the walk and do the game. And so they're telling me before the show, okay, so when you say good night, walk down the center, take a right, shake Bud's hand. He's going to hand you a box. Walk, give the box back to the producer. We didn't get the game. I was like, wait, I don't get the game. He goes, no, it's just an empty box. But he's going to show the box to the camera, hand it to you, shake his hand. Then as you walk out of camera shot, there will be a producer there. Just hand it back to the producer.
And then we're going to record you saying how much fun you've had playing the game that you've never played or opened.
I was like, oh, okay.
Jeez, it's like
I know.
getting a graduation. Yeah, no diploma. It's empty.
I know. It was.
Wow.
So, yeah, nobody got the game. As a matter of fact, there wasn't even multiple games. There's literally one box on the premises, apparently, because I had to hand it back.
But was there a real game?
Oh, yeah. There was a board game, which I actually thought I was going to get for free.
So if I go on eBay later, and we'll think I'll find a copy
We have
of
to
this?
find that game.
Yeah, I want to see this game.
Yeah, but he would hand the box to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm looking at the time.
Okay.
Is there anything else we should be talking about? I want to bring up one more thing here. This is the thing I'm going to bring up to you. And compliment you that last time you were here, it was still 2 years before Seattle was going to start with their hockey team. It had been announced, and I brought out a list of the names, and you had a pretty good line about
Wow.
calling them the Mariners.
Oh, right. Okay, let me. We should call the hockey team the Mariners. That way we can say the sentence, "The Mariners are playing in October."
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Great stuff there. And
Wow.
then I read the list, and when we got to Seattle Kraken, you were like, "Yeah, I like that one." And
Oh,
that was
that's
the name
awesome.
They picked.
That was awesome. Well, it was a great name, and then when they unveiled the colors, the logo, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great, and I got to go to one of the games, which I didn't think would happen because it's such a hard ticket. A friend of mine had a couple tickets with the company, and it's cool, man. The pregame thing, and they drop the octopus leg comes down, and all the lights are. It's fun. They're not going to be good for a while, but man, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Hockey is not done justice on TV. When you watch it live, you see like, oh, this is an amazing game. Right?
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Like every level is better in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
But I just remember watching it, just telling my friend, how do the ankles not explode? The way they move so fast and they stop on dimes, how do the ankles just not shatter?
A lot of tape.
Yes.
A lot of tape around that ankle.
So yeah, we're really happy, and it's a great audience. The Kraken audience is really, they're awesome. So yeah, it's fun, and I'm so glad I said that about the Kraken name because it is the great name.
Yeah.
And they nailed it, not just with the name, but how they did everything. It everything works, man.
Yep. They did it right. They absolutely did it right. Some of these new expansion teams, relocations, new uniforms, I get like, but they did it right.
They did. I agree.
Kermit, thank you. Please come back to Acme quicker than 2 or 3 years.
Well, let's see how monkeypox goes.
Well, yeah, we'll base it on monkeypox. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Boom. That was so fun. And we did it in a good time, right?